back to Sunny Days.
Thanks.
I did pretty good that time, I think. Honestly. Yeah. I'm getting really good at this.
You could be like a game show host.
Episode 5. You know, just in case y'all skip around like me, my name's Colton. This is my wife, Courtney.
No, they're not skipping around.
They probably do.
No.
They might.
Go straight through.
There's 5 episodes to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
So they might. I mean,
5.
Well, there will be 5. This is 5.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel? You're 5 deep into this. What do you think?
I'm feeling good.
Getting better?
I don't know if I'm getting better.
I think you are.
I don't. You just lectured me about the mic. So.
A lecture? She's like, blah, blah, blah,
blah, blah. Yeah, I did do that.
Like, you probably shouldn't do that. Yeah.
That's my life.
It is your life. Break things. She loves breaking things.
Hey.
Is it not true?
Me break things? Okay.
Breaking hearts. That's what I was talking about. What are you talking about?
I do break things when I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
That is really good at you, though.
Speaking of breaking things, we're going to talk about some things you've broken in this episode. But before we do that.
Oh, my goodness.
Should we jump into?
Would you rather?
Okay.
That's fine.
Is that right? Is that too soon?
No, that's good.
Okay. All right. This one's kind of, I don't know if it's stupid, but I also laughed really hard when I read it. Okay. Would you rather sniff butts like a dog every time you meet someone new or eat dog food for dinner every night?
Oh. I mean, at first I was like, that would be easy. But then.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe it's not so easy. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really don't want to sniff butts. I think because you can get pink eye and all that, right? I mean, that seems like I think that's like the dog food. I mean, that's for every night.
Sniff butts like a dog every time you meet someone new.
So after you meet them, you're done. No more. Right?
I guess. It just says when you meet someone new.
Yeah, I'm sniffing butt, I guess. I mean, I think so. Like, because you're done, right? It's like, all right.
Isn't that
nice
funny?
to meet you.
That's why I was laughing so hard earlier.
I don't want to eat dog food every night.
Because I was picturing us sniffing butts.
I mean, it didn't say you had to like sniff for 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean,
just
yeah.
Quick sniff.
Yeah.
And then you're out of there.
I think that's a tough one.
Yeah, because, I listened to your episode with Reese last week, and you said that my would you rather question sucked, basically.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, his were way better. But I mean, this was a good one.
Yeah.
Hey, good job. Hey, good. Would you rather?
Thanks. Next one is would you rather be in the real life version of Walking Dead or Jurassic Park?
That's tough. Because they both probably suck. But I'm going to have to go Walking Dead, I think.
I knew you would.
I think I have to. I don't want to be eaten by. I mean, I feel like you can't beat a dinosaur. I can beat the zombies. Like, I can do that. I think
I would say Jurassic Park.
Just because you like the movie. You just want to.
I think I could survive.
With the dinosaurs? T-Rex?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's like the gorilla question.
I mean, all the Jell-O and desserts you could eat.
I mean.
You just got to be smart.
No. I'm Walking Dead, probably.
Yeah, no, I don't want zombies.
I mean, I get it. Like, you're starving and all that, but I mean, zombies, that does suck.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, but I'm still sticking with my answer. Good job, babe. Would you rather?
All right.
Good job.
Thanks. Those were better.
Much better.
Yeah.
Much better. Reese would be proud. I'm curious what the boys' answer would be.
But like, just think about someone you've met and then sniffing their butt.
I mean, I'm hoping that like they would know that I had to do it. Maybe they'd wash. Maybe they'd be polite about it.
I don't know about that.
I mean, like, what kind of like butt sniff? You know what I mean? Like, you know how to,
Yeah.
ugh, 2 sniffs, 1 sniff. Because I feel like you could figure out how to fake it too.
I mean,
like,
if you think about June and Lucille, our
they're
dogs,
sniffing hard.
I mean, it's nose to butthole. So,
I mean, at this point, it'd probably kill me.
oh,
As a leukemia patient, I don't think the butt sniff is gonna.
Yeah, we're not gonna have you sniffing butts for real. Hypothetical, but
Well, ask the doctor.
speaking of things that could have killed you, you've had a lot happen.
We're gonna get into
the
that
last few weeks.
It's been a bit of a. It's been a bit of a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been rowdy.
Mm.
So do you want to get into it?
I guess. Yeah.
I did make a post, so a lot of people
they probably
that are connected with us
it.
know. So.
It was a rowdy. All jokes aside, it was terrible. But,
yeah.
But then it's like, because I said something to somebody, I was like, what the heck, man? And I was like, man, I'm just unlucky. And then I was like,
You sure about that?
I mean, maybe I'm a little lucky. Like,
all right. So you were in a
car accident, pretty rowdy one.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty. I mean, I would say it was bad,
very
right?
Bad. We're gonna post a picture here.
There, we'll post some pictures. Yeah.
So I would say, kind of set the scene for us, like what was going on.
Okay, so like, it was a Friday, I believe. Yep, and I was headed to get the boy. The boys wanted to be checked out. I think it was like a testing day, and they didn't have anything going on for the rest of the day. And they're like, "Come get us," and I was like, "All right, cool, I'll come get you." And I was driving on a highway here, like an interstate, and it's like 2 main lanes, but when it starts to open up for an exit, there's a 3rd lane. And oddly enough, I think I told you this, I remember getting on the interstate. I don't think it's a highway, I think, but either way, I was getting on, and there was a truck, and it's a Freightliner, 18-wheeler truck, but it had a dump truck bed on it. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to see if I can find a picture of it.
It was full of
asphalt. Mm-hmm. Found out later. And I remember him kind of like stopping suddenly in front of me before we got on. And I don't want to say I had to slam on my brakes, but I had to stop pretty suddenly. And I was like, man, that's super weird. Like, why?
You just noticed.
I was like, man, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I also noticed, I don't want to say his brake lights weren't working, but I did notice like they were at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And it was just really difficult. I didn't know at first that he stopped. I just, mm-hmm. We were going slow enough that it wasn't that big of a deal. Anyway, so, he got on the interstate and ahead of me, and, I'm just kind of cruising. I'm not in a hurry. Speed limit 70, on this particular highway. And so I'm going, and he gets ahead of me, quite a ways, and I'm, just doing my thing, rolling through. I don't think it's only like an exit or 2 up to get to the boys. And
you actually, just like from riding with you, sometimes you drive like a grandpa. So you may not have even been going through.
Yeah, I'm just assuming I was going that fast.
Sometimes I sit in the passenger seat and I'm like, oh, he's so slow.
I wasn't I wasn't driving crazy or anything like that. But, I knew where I was going. So I don't want to pretend like I was like super defensive driving.
Right.
I was just kind of going where I knew I needed to go. And anyway, so I'm pretty good about, and you probably can attest to this, I'm pretty good about like when I know I'm getting off, I get over in that lane pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Like I don't wait last second, mm-hmm. I like to get like, if I'm getting off on that exit, it opens up, I get over there. So like I get on that. So back up a little bit, it started raining pretty mm-hmm. hard. It wasn't like a thunderstorm, but it was like just big drops of like a spring mm-hmm. rain,
And it gets, I feel like when it starts storming here, when it's really hot outside, it'll get muggy. And it's almost like, like it's hard to see through Yeah.
And so I get over, it's raining. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. I got to get out to get the boys. Well, I notice that truck is ahead of me, but it's a good ways. Like, but we're still so because I think this is important. When you get off on an exit, so it's like you're going, and then you start kind of going down that off ramp, and then you slow down pretty significantly at some point. Well, we're way back still on the interstate or the highway. We're anyway. So I noticed like I'm coming up on this guy kind of fast. That's weird. I don't see any brake lights or anything, and it's raining. I can't tell. So by the time I realize like I'm going 70 and he's going 0, by the time I realize that, I try to hit my brakes and I start sliding because it's raining. And
so
yeah,
he was stopped in the road.
In the middle of the road. Like now, what I think happened is that maybe he didn't know where he was going, or maybe waiting on somebody. And I think that he thought since he was on that off ramp lane that maybe he was, kind of out of the way safe. But I just couldn't tell that he was stopped. So I'm sliding and I'm like, dang, I'm going to hit him. So I'm like, I'm going to try to go around him while I'm sliding, And so instead of hitting him like directly, I was able to hit the front right passenger side on his back end. When I say I hit it hard,
you smashed into it.
Smashed.
You crashed.
Yeah. I'm going anywhere from 60 to 70 miles an hour. He's going nowhere. But I think, I had a friend, I talked to him yesterday actually about it. And I was like, man, I don't recall seeing brake lights. Now the brake lights are at the bottom. They're hard to see. It's raining. Maybe they were on. He said, but a truck that heavy, what they can do is be stopped and then let off the gas and barely be rolling. So now there's no brake lights on, right? But they're pretty much not moving. They're just kind of going at a creep.
Right.
I thought that was an interest that would make a lot of sense to, why I didn't see any brake lights. And, you can say it was my fault for not knowing that he was stopped, I guess, but you just don't expect somebody to be stopped in the middle of a highway. And I hit him, and it was loud. It was, really hard hit. I was in an F-150, and so it kind of turned me. I'm kind of sitting there turning like, oh my God, my blood counts are kind of low. I'm not feeling well already, but then I got smacked in the face by like a bunch of airbags. My hand ended up hitting the steering wheel and stuff like that. And
so you hit him,
and then you could count to like, it wasn't immediate. So I want to say you could count to like 7, or 5, Mississippi, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then you start hearing, and I'm like, oh my God, maybe it was more like 4 or 5 Mississippi. Boom. I hear something sliding at me. Don't know what it is. I can't really see because, everything's just torn up. And then the airbags are going off or already went off deployed. So I can't really see around them. But like I'm turned and they're kind of coming at me from the side. And I'm thinking, crap, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to get hit multiple times. Who knows how much traffic, was behind us. And I got just demolished.
So what hit you?
Well, at the moment, I just knew something hit me. And I was like, again, I got thrown around pretty good. Luckily, I had my seatbelt on. Airbags all worked. I am in a lifted truck, so I'm a little high. And I'm like, crap. So I'm sitting there. I just got hit again from behind. And I wait a second. Nobody else is sliding and hitting me. And you could tell people are kind of like slowing down to stop. And I'm like, well, nobody's helping me out. So I looked, I'm going to be honest. I thought I thought I was probably hurt at first just because how hard I was hit. It was, really hard. I've never been in like a major accident, so maybe that's pretty common. But, to me, it was like bombs going off. And so I'm like, I got to get out of here, because what if somebody else was going to hit me, at some point, or it's just not dangerous. Or I felt like it was dangerous to be sitting in the truck. So I climb. I can't open my door because I'm pretty much up against the other truck, the truck I hit. I'm not touching it, but I would, even if I could open my door.
You can open the door.
I wouldn't be able to get it. But it was just smushed anyway. So I climb out of the back seat and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of dazed a little bit because I just got popped, several times. And I look And actually, even then, I didn't realize what had hit me from behind. I just had a guy come up to me. He's like, man, I couldn't understand what he's saying. He's like, man, I hit you. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I'm a little confused because I got popped. And the guy that was in front of me, I was like, man, why were you stopped in the road? And he's like, I wasn't stopped. And I'm like, okay, man, I don't feel well. I'm not going to argue. But anyway, so I go around, and it turns out the same truck, the same type of truck, same company, an asphalt truck, or it's a semi, a 18-wheeler, but full of asphalt, also hit me. So they squished me. Luckily, probably saved my life, is that he was probably paying a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
And instead of, say this is one truck, instead of pancaking me, he missed me a little bit, missed me, quote unquote, and kind of just took out the back half of my vehicle. It just is gone, but he was able to keep going past us, probably, 50 yards. And so he stopped. And anyways, it turns out I hit a semi going 70, and then another one hit me from behind, and my truck was just
probably going the same speed.
Oh, no doubt. He didn't have any really time to stop either.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wet.
And how did you get out of your truck?
I had to crawl out of the back.
Yeah.
I crawled out of the back. Luckily, I just feel like everything else was just crushed except my area of the truck,
Yeah.
I mean, I had a few scratches, probably a mild concussion for sure, and then banged up wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a jammed wrist or something like that, and it was just like, holy crap. And then everybody kept coming up to me, is like, man, we thought you were dead for sure. Like and I was like, okay, everybody says that. And then I got in the ambulance, and like, ooh, when we hear of a two semis in a vehicle, you're usually supposed to be dead. And and then the cop said, man, we thought you were dead. And then, everybody thought I was dead.
Yeah.
But man, nothing. I mean, you could say.
Well, I know you've had obviously a couple weeks to process it. But even then I feel like when you were telling me what had happened and stuff, you were like, I feel like in this situation you had a real clear mind.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you knew to look around and be like, am I hurt?
Yeah.
And then you were listening for what was going on around you, even though you couldn't see.
Yeah. I didn't pass out.
And then
anything,
you just get out of the vehicle. But I will say from my perspective, when I got there, I could tell that you didn't realize, like it was like you weren't processing how bad the actual wreck was.
No.
Makes sense. Like you had a clear mind to be like, I got to get myself to safety, but you didn't realize like this was like one of those, like what you would call a fatal accident for probably the majority of people who are in accidents like this.
Yeah. I agree.
Because you were like, your face was just like, what's, I'm fine,
I was kind of surprised, I was, you know what I mean? Cause
yeah.
And then
so what were you like? I think I've asked you before, like, what were some things that were going through your mind? Like when you knew, like just the first impact, second impact, like what were you thinking?
So like the first impact, probably because the airbags deployed and it hits you pretty quick. I was just like, crap.
Mm-hmm.
That was rough. I'm probably bleeding somewhere. That was kind of my initial, but then when I got hit the second time, it was really hard. And I thought I was hurt. That's when I was probably, I mean, if you had to say I was scared, that's when I was like, dang, I'm in a bad situation. It's like the first one happened so quick, I was able to react and stuff driving, but because he wasn't moving, boom, that impact.
And that's even crazy to me that you were able to be like, okay, I'm sliding. I'm going to try to miss him.
And it's thank God I did, because to be honest with you, it turned me enough where I think that guy was able to just kind of, I mean, he hit me hard,
right?
But he didn't, they would have like accordioned me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which would have killed me.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I think that the second impact, I was scared, like
Mm-hmm.
one that I thought there was probably more. And then I realized that was a really hard impact.
What did you think after you saw your vehicle? Like, I know that I just said, like,
I didn't
when I
see
walked
the back
up,
end for a while.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I got out.
And that makes sense to why you were like,
I didn't see the back end for a minute, probably until I got in the, nobody would help me look for anything. So I got back in the vehicle to look for my phone. And even then I was still kind of dazed. Yeah. So I didn't know. I mean, I didn't realize.
You definitely had a concussion.
Yeah. So I got, but I was probably, to say that second impact, I was scared. Like I was like, I thought my legs, honestly, I kept looking at my legs. Like I thought my legs, because I did hit my knees pretty hard, but nothing like, just bruises. But I thought, I broke my leg or something like that. Nothing was hurting. And then I was just like, because I remember screaming, like kind of like, like the second one's like, now glass is breaking and popping in my face and stuff like that. And I was like, oh no. And then I was like looking down. I was like,
is something stuck in me? Like,
right.
Well, because
that's what it
your
was
adrenaline.
Like. Yeah. And you're just like, and then I was like, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I thought my face was bleeding. I remember asking the guys, like, is my face okay? And he's like, yeah. Because I had a big knot on my head.
Yeah.
And,
poor thing. That makes me so sad every time I think about it. Like picturing you in the truck, just like scared and like, yeah. And I'm like, and I'm getting an alert on my phone. So I'm in the shower and my phone was like on the little, we have a table like right outside. So my phone was there and it starts going off and it's like telling me that a crash was detected. It says daddy.
Daddy. Yeah. I told Siri to call me daddy.
And I was like, what the heck? And like, I'm thinking, surely it's just like a fender bender. And then it said that emergency services had been called. Yeah. And I think I called you and you answered on your watch and it must have just happened. Like you must have had just got out of your vehicle or something.
I hadn't had my phone yet or anything.
And I was like, I just got an alert that you were in a crash. Like, what happened? Are you okay? What's wrong? And you were like, I could tell from your voice that it was bad, but you were like, well, it's not good. It's pretty bad. And I could tell like you were like something was wrong.
I was having to think a little bit harder.
Right.
Like kind of like,
right.
I just buzzed or something, I'd say it like that. But like, I was like,
no, I knew something was, I knew something was wrong. And so I jump out of the shower. I shaved one leg. And I just put on whatever clothes were laying there. I had no undergarments on. And I just take off, jumped in my car. I drove so fast. Probably shouldn't have, but I did. I had my emergency lights on. And I called your dad too. Yeah. Well, or no, he called me. That's what happened.
Because he kept calling me. And I was like, why is he calling? Like on my watch kept going off. And I was having a hard time answering it.
Yeah. I think maybe I called him and he called back. It was something like that. But and I was like, hey. And I said, did you get the alert too? Like, I'm just assuming that he did. And he was like, yes. And I said, I don't know what's happened. I said, I talked to him for a second and it's bad. I don't think it's good. Like something's bad has happened. I was like, you're probably closer than me. Go,
that way,
go, and I think I actually ended up getting there quicker than him because he had to go down an exit to turn around. But yeah, I remember walking up and I saw your truck. And I just remember thinking, he's on the ground somewhere. They've got him like on a stretcher. Right. You've got a neck brace, like something like this is bad. You've done broken a leg. Like I thought for sure something on you was crushed. Yeah. And I'm walking up and I see like these officers and pedestrians and you're standing in a group with them. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, and the ambulance is like way down there. Yeah. And I'm like, why aren't they down here? Like you should already be like on a bed. Like they should be rolling you down there. And even then I knew that you were like still kind of dazed and in shock because when you're not and you're clear-minded and you are okay, you're going, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. And you weren't, you were just like following the leader.
Well, like in my mind, I kept thinking, obviously once I realized like, okay, this is tough impact. Mm-hmm. I just found out about my stem cell transplant, and we're kind of like looking forward to that.
And that was the first thing I was like,
I'm not going to be able to get my transplant.
Well, I was like, I was worried about internal things.
Right. Well, see, if my platelets are low at the time, and if
I'm worried about like brain bleeds or like spinal injuries,
I would bleed out, most likely. Maybe not for sure.
Right.
So infection could get me with the white cells being so low, my neutrophils being so low. There was just like,
and then they ended up dropping a few days after too. So they were on you were on the downhill with those. But yeah, and then you got in the ambulance and it just kind of felt like, and I'm not saying people weren't nice, but they definitely didn't understand the significance of not just someone, like you weren't just someone who was in an accident. You're a leukemia patient that was in an accident. So,
and I'm pretty much neutropenic.
Right. You know. And it's just where we're at, like locally, it's just not, they're not as equipped probably.
They probably don't, being leukemia being so rare as well, they probably, how often do you run across that, And
so, but it was super stressful.
I feel like crazy. People didn't understand the urgency because like when I got out, the guy was like in my face and I was like, hey man, I need to keep my distance. I'm a leukemia patient.
And you can tell when you tell people this, they're like, you look fine.
Right. And that's the confusing part. And then the cops came and I'm like, hey, I have leukemia. I probably need to be seen,
and
pretty quickly.
To be honest with you, I'm sure some of them were like, what is that? Like, I don't even know what that is.
Really, they're over there laughing and goofing with the people and I'm like, and then the cop, no knock on anybody. I love cops. I'm for the blue, baby. I'm but the guy was like questioning me right in front of the guy that was stopped. He's like, well, what happened? And I want to be like,
yeah,
this was stopped in the middle of the road, like that's what I want to say. But like, I didn't want to like cause confrontation. Plus, like I'm not feeling great. And,
it was just like a whole pack, it was packed full of stress.
And then we're stressed out and we're, we've been,
like we said, we just found out that you were getting your stem cell transplant and that you were officially approved to move to the next step because Reese was going to be your donor. And the next steps were getting tested.
Right.
And so we're like, these people aren't understanding the amount of stress we are under. And it's not because like they're thinking, oh, you're so worried because he was in an accident. I'm like, no, I'm so worried because he was in an accident. And he's got to get a stem cell transplant. Like you don't,
like the nurse, it was a very, when you're on high alert like that, and we've been on high alert for coming on a year now, so it's, and then that something just so we probably come across as probably a little.
But again, tense, I think it's just a lack of awareness and understanding for those types of situations. I don't think that it's on purpose or anything. I don't think anybody's
intentionally.
But it gets like, it is exhausting.
Right. Like, hey, I need to be scanned.
Like you're just like, you don't understand.
We're going to scan you, Mr. Bell. We're going to, like, I need you to do everything that, and more.
And more, yeah.
Like, do it all. I'll pay for it or, whatever.
And I'm pretty sure, I think when you were in the emergency room, the person that was treating you was like, oh, you probably don't have a concussion. You definitely had a concussion. You came home. Was terrible. You were hurting so bad, not just from the whiplash, but you had a really bad headache. And then one of your pupils was a different size than the other. And I was like, that's a concussion. Yeah. Like you have a concussion. And you were so dazed and
for a while.
And so, but you definitely did. It's just
when I got, they did scan me. Everything came back. I got CTs. I got, blood work. Everything came back good. Vanderbilt, a week or two later, did every test under the sun. Everything's good.
Perfect health. Yeah.
We're good. But
yeah, it felt like, I put that in my post. I was like, I don't even think I told you this. I think, I like maybe text your dad or something in between all of it. And I was like, this just sucks. Like life is just like really dumb right now. And like we try to be really positive, but it's just, we keep saying, is this a joke? Like,
It feels like it.
is this a practical joke? Is somebody playing a joke on us? Like, none of this feels real. It doesn't even feel like our life anymore. It feels like so far from those, like,
From reality,
we don't get in accidents. Like even the
No.
accident, like this stuff doesn't happen. Like, it's just so weird. So when people say when it rains, it pours, that's what they mean.
Yeah, we know now.
Yeah.
We know what it feels like. You know, it's just like we get like.
They don't mean like your milk is sour and then you stub your toe.
Right. No,
It's this
like,
stuff. When it rains, it pours.
It's like it doesn't, you know, for me, it feels like lately or just over the course of the last year, it's like you get a little good news with a dose of like a lot of, I don't say bad news, but like not good news. You know, I don't know, like reality. You get that dose of reality and then it's like, yeah, you know, obviously, I mean, any cancer patient knows this. I mean, when you're not working, when you're getting, I'm on disability, you get 50% of your pay. I mean, I'm used to making X amount of dollars, you know, obviously there's a financial strain, you know, on us, but anybody. And totaling your truck is not a great,
right.
You know, especially with inflation being so high, interest rate, you know, we have great credit, thank God. We, you know, we can approve for good loans and it didn't matter, you know, it was those interest rates are high, vehicles are high.
But we basically just couldn't replace your truck, what you had for the price you had. It just didn't, there was a lot of things that didn't make sense, didn't add up for us. And so, and then the Colton was like, we'll just, I was kind of due for a vehicle anyways.
Oh yeah.
We knew I was going to get one within the next year or two.
Yeah.
Cause Reese will be driving soon next year.
Hopefully.
And, so then we just opted to get, go ahead and get my vehicle. Then we have one for the boys. And then when we get, you know, little more down the road past all this.
Yeah. We'll work on me later.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, you have to drive back and forth from Vanderbilt every day. It's not ideal to be in a big truck. I can't.
Although the Bronco, like, I love it. It feels like I'm so high off the ground.
Yeah, but it's so much shorter, and I think it's like, I'm happy.
I love it.
You deserve it, though. You worked hard.
I love you. Thank you.
But I just, that was rowdy. I mean, it's hard to explain. Like,
So we've been really having to reach for the sunny days.
Oh my gosh!
Like we've just been like,
ooh, it's been tough lately.
Yeah, definitely puts a strain on everything. So
I would say so.
Yeah.
Thank God the kids weren't in there. I mean, that makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
You know. And then it's just like, hey guys, look, don't stop in the middle of the highway. Just don't do it. You know, I'm not. Everybody's got a little blame somewhere. You know, I'm not like.
Well, I mean, that's when they're called accidents.
Yeah. It just sucks.
It wasn't done on purpose, but it definitely sucks.
Oof.
But and should we turn it on to like a brighter side?
Yeah,
okay. You and Reese were on the news.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was
fun. That was really cool. Like
so, what was it? What was it like preparing for that?
Well, you know, like it had occurred to me, like, hey, it would be, you know, it's to get the word out about stem cell in general. Like that's kind of like a goal of mine. Like I really want to help people find a donor. I get the stress of it. Like it's super stressful knowing that I have a donor, but it's not like a perfect donor, you know? And, so I wanted to get the word out and I was thinking, how can I do that? I reached out to several people who kind of had connections with news, you know, anchors and things like that. And, one of them finally was able to connect me with somebody, but heck, I connected with this lady weeks ago, like maybe a month ago.
I think it was.
And I had not really found a donor. Plus I'm like, we got a lot going on and I'm a little stressed out myself and I'm trying to get physically and mentally prepared. And, so I didn't think about it. And finally she just calls me. She's like, hey, Mr. Bell, you know, we want to come by today and do this interview. And I'm like, oh my God, my wife is going to kill me. Like, cause they want to come to my house, you know? And that's like, anybody knows Courtney is like, she's going to stress clean this house. If somebody, thank God she did that like 2 days before, just randomly.
I'm a little better about it now. I let things go a little more now because I just have to.
Yeah.
But
so like, I didn't really get a lot of time to like really prepare, but I kind of like, we've done the podcast. I feel like I tell our story a lot. And so like a random question wasn't going to throw me off. And so, yeah, I felt pretty good. I was really more nervous for Reese, you know, because when they found out he was the donor, they wanted to do, you know, interview him. And it's really neat to see him set up though. Like it's nothing like, it's dang near what we do in here, you know, like it's like, boop, boop, you know, and I was like, wow. It was cool though. I'm really grateful.
They were really nice.
They were so nice for Fox 13. Like you could tell, like, cause I was pressuring them a little bit. I was like, hey, why don't you know, shout out the podcast and shout out this and that. And you could tell they were like, had a job to do. And
they probably couldn't go off what they were there to do. Yeah.
Right. So but they were trying to fit as much as what I was wanting. And
well, that was one of my questions. Do you feel like, you know, just for other people, like what all did they film? And, you know, obviously they didn't get everything you talked about.
We talked about quite a bit more than they put in there.
Yeah.
But I like the angle. I thought she did a good job. Like, I mean, for me, I just wanted to get out there that stem cell, it would be really cool, you know, for people to at least consider, you know, donating. But also like Reese, you know, like it's just a cool story. And I think Reese deserves to be celebrated with his bravery, which we've talked in, you know, quite excess about that. But like, I thought it was really neat the amount that they really showed Reese and, you know, and didn't make it too much of a, you know, this guy's dying kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like it was I felt like it was hopeful and all that. So I really liked it. I thought they did an outstanding job on that. And
anything in particular
like
that you like the most or that stood out to you maybe?
Or, you know, Reese, you know, just Reese's interview was cool. Like, you know, what he said, that would suck, you know, and I was like, in my mind, like as a parent, I'm like, oh, he just said suck. I'm like, not that it's a bad word or anything.
But the camera guy was like,
that was great.
He's like, that's the best soundbite I've had all week. Like, that would suck. I was like, okay.
God. We're good. Yeah. No, I liked it. I really thought that, I just like the way they did the whole thing, to be honest. I don't have anything specific, but, I'm just grateful that they did it. And then I've actually had like through that, which I think is really cool. We've connected with other leukemia patients, you know, recently, and that they've seen the podcast now, you know, so they didn't shout out the podcast, but it allowed that door to be opened. And I just thought it was really cool that they were like, oh my gosh, it's so cool that you and your wife are doing this. You know, yes, we don't just talk about leukemia and things of that nature, but they're like, there's just nothing out there for me to see about this process and about stem cell transplant.
Well, I mean, you can also, you try to be as normal as possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
As much as you can. Yeah. It's a downer out there, guys. There's plenty of like pages and accounts and stuff that, you know, are leukemia focused, and it's, you know,
sky's falling.
Yeah, I would say 95% of the time it's a real damper. I am in some of them, but I snooze them for 30 days at a time, just because it can really take a strain on your mental health. So I think it's probably good for people to see that you're, you know, hey, it's tough, but like
we can do it.
You know, there are days maybe you've come on here and that's the only thing you've done, but you know what I mean? But you're like, this is what I did. Check. That was my goal today.
I have to do, like, I feel like I have to do that. And I'm glad that we can be that for people. And not that we're like, you know, something special, but it is cool.
Yeah.
That the goal was to create something like, I remember talking to a few people about it before I did it, or we started this. And that was kind of my like goal, was to be like, hey, I want to be a source of information, but also like an encouragement, you know, like I always take when people, I have probably a dozen leukemia patients I kind of keep up with and stuff like that. And I'm like, we got to stick together. That's what we always say. You know, we got to stick together. We can do this. You know, some are doing better than others. And some are actually, you know, in the cure, you know, 8 years out of stem cell. And those people have just been like, for me, hey, you can do this. You're going to do great through transplant. You got this going for you. Your son is a great donor. Don't listen to this. Don't listen to that. You just, and for me,
Right.
that's been outstanding.
Right.
I'll shout them out. Jody Craig, Danielle Vance, Mackenzie Baxter. Those people like have really invested in me. A million, I'm a million question. Talk text. I'm
You really are.
Yeah, and they.
I think we've said that before. Or
yeah,
we have some really good friends, and they said that you text like a old lady or something.
They said I'm a girl text. They're like, so I'm over here like really getting.
And I was
in
like,
there,
he is.
Yeah, I'm conversating.
Yeah.
Chatty is the word they use, but they've really been good, and I'm glad to see that through that interview with Fox that we didn't get a million people, but there were some people that saw it, and I see that what we're doing can help somebody, and especially that we're going to be able to do this through stem cell transplant. Hopefully, that's the goal. As healthy as I can.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
We're gonna do as many as we can.
It's not gonna look the same.
No.
It'll be different. It may not be like it might just be Mike's. Who knows? We don't know. And you know how to work all of this much better than I do. So I may have to start learning. That might be what I do along
we'll be
with
in
my
our
long
apartment
distance
probably
working.
doing it. Yeah, and we'll may miss a week or so, but it'll show the transplant process and probably give y'all a little bit more real look at what it looks like.
Yeah.
For me to be sick, and where I'm at, and
they're gonna see bald Colton.
They're gonna see real bald
if
Colton.
you feel good, but if you don't feel good, it's okay.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try. That's my goal. I have to set goals, man. Like that's something I've like even at home. It's like it would be easy for me to lay around a lot, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna exercise. I may not have a great workout or whatever in the garage, but I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna make my cup of coffee. I'm a barista, basically. But so I get up, I do that. I make my coffee, even though I don't feel like it sometimes, and then I'm gonna work out, and then I'm gonna whatever. I have a checklist, and I do it every day, and I think it's good for me. I think, but this is gonna be on my checklist. Like, all right, once a week, let's try to sit down, take all your meds, and then hurry up and do it.
Yeah. Well, 2025 has already been packed full of excitement.
Yeah, I need a little less. I was telling somebody and it is the truth. I find myself a little, mentally exhausted, with the whole being sick. I just feel like I've been sick for so long, even when like I'm able to do things I like to do, I'm just not, it weighs so heavy, on everybody around me, kids, even some of our friends, it's hard to really get away. You don't ever really get away from it, and I feel like
it lingers over you.
I feel like
you just carry it with you
all the time.
Like it's just like a little backpack.
Yep.
And your little buddy's got to stay back there.
Yeah, it does. It's like,
and you forget sometimes you got it on.
Yep. But then it's like, it's like, hey, I'm right here.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, this is, but I do feel like if I can get to transplant, do it. I feel like that's like, I'm going to be at my lowest somewhere than I've been this whole time, probably, but I feel like then I can start kind of picking myself up out of that.
Yeah.
Like, whereas I've been like healing, right? I'm like, chemo, heal, get healed, do chemo again, heal, get healed, like it's a constant like up and down. And I feel like I'm getting ready to be punched again. You know what I mean? Versus like, I kind of feel like if I can get through transplant, and God will allow that to work on my behalf, I can start healing for like long term, when I'm walking, when I'm trying to get my cardio back up, I'm trying to get my strength back up. Like, it's not just to be punched again in, 6 weeks. It's like, I feel like I can really work towards like, hey, there's a like I can get this new journey behind me at some point. It's going to take some time, and obviously, but it feels like, I'm nervous. I'm nervous, right? It can kill me. I think it would make anybody nervous, but like I also feel like, hey, all right, if I can just get through this, there's not another planned, thing waiting to knock me back down.
Right.
Obviously anything can happen and I might have to do who knows. But hopefully I can get past this thing, hit all the benchmarks, and then I can really start, kind of pushing to get my life back. My life will never be the same. But there's a piece of me that thinks my life will never be the same, but I think it will, like, it'll look different, but like maybe it's a good thing. Like for me, because I'm a creature of habit. There's things that I would have done for the rest of my life, and there will be some drastic changes in my life, in the next 5 years to be somebody different and something, spend more quality time. And my perspective is significantly changed, obviously. But, people look at it and be like, well, yeah, when you're dying, but it's not like that. It is that definitely. But I feel like I'm able to go, whoa, what is life? It is short. You're like, I'm not invincible. Nobody is. I am fragile. I'm a fragile life. Enjoy it. Don't.
And yeah. And there are people that say that, it's easy to think that way because the situation you're in, but there are a lot of people who get in similar situations and they continue to do
the same,
and what not that you were doing anything bad,
no,
but there are people who do.
Yeah.
And they don't change those things. So,
and that's also what freaks me out. It's like a buddy of mine called me. He's like, you could tell he was kind of down about everything. Obviously we hang out a lot, right? Before all this, like our hangouts were way different, just, it didn't matter if somebody had like a sniffle or a sore throat, hey, we're good. We don't care. Let's go, but now it's like everybody's on edge and everybody's like, how, like we have friends coming over this weekend and it's like, they're checking temperatures of all their kids every day. They're checking their temperature every day to make sure that they're not going to come over, but so like you could tell he was kind of bummed out and just things were a little heavier on him. And he's like, man, I just don't understand, we're good people. I think, we're not like bad people. We're pretty healthy. We take care of our families. He's like, well, why is all this happening? And I was just like,
that's really sweet though, that he said we.
Yeah. Just like, but
we've realized that a lot of people like reach out and they're like, wow, you guys have such a good support system.
I didn't realize
some
that.
people just don't. And that's really sad. So we feel really grateful about those things.
I didn't know I had a support system. You know what I mean? Like I tell people that, like doctors and stuff, they're like, man, it seems like you got a really good support system. And I was like, I'm shocked. Like, and that people are like, oh, you're just digging for a compliment. And that's not true. I love people and I have friends and I have people I care about. But like, I just didn't expect so many people to come through for me.
Yeah.
In this time. And it would be impossible for me to name everything. And like, they're still doing things like people that like I love and we've impacted each other's lives in a short amount of time, are going way out of their way.
Right.
And not just the obvious people. I'm speaking to, some, people are putting a softball tournament together in my, it's a fundraiser for me. And, one of the families heading it up, we've known for how long?
Yeah.
A year?
Yeah.
And he checks on me often.
Yeah.
And not only that, his wife, I mean, I'm not afraid to shout him out, the Hayes family, they basically got me a grant through the association. I don't know how personal it is, you know, but
they helped. Yeah.
they helped
She
like
helped,
drastically. Well, I wasn't going to reach out to them. They actually reached out to me and named them by name. I think there was another lady that helped.
Yeah, there were other people involved, but
I don't know that person as
you're
well.
just saying.
But just saying, like, I don't know these people. Like, it's not like I've known them for 20 years, 10 years. You know, they're getting a grant that's helping pay for some of our stay at Vanderbilt.
And it came
it was
right
a lot
on
of
time.
money. Like, it was crazy because it was like, he's like, you're going to be this amount short, you know, and I'm like, it wasn't like $500, you know.
No, it was this
thousands, you know, and I was like, oh my God, like, okay, we'll work it out. And then like
a couple weeks later, they were like, oh, by the way,
the exact amount, you know, it's just God's working things out, but through people. And I just didn't know I had those kind of people in my life.
Yeah. And they might not even, did you even tell them that?
I don't know if, you know.
Yeah.
You
but
know,
I'm just saying, like,
I
there's a lot of, like, we just have, it's hard for people to understand, but there are so many things that happen. Like, you know, we did talk about, oh, things get heavy, and they do, but there are a lot of like lights that come out of those, I hate to be cliche, but darknesses, you know. But our lives are so crazy. There's so much going on. We can't, like you said, it would take a whole episode to sit down and talk about those things. And I think they'll come out slowly and eventually, but yeah. Lots of good stuff comes out of it too.
Just great people. I mean, there's actually, you know, there's still good people in the world. Well, there are, you know, and
lots of
way more
people you wouldn't anticipate.
I used to use the saying, "What people suck." Like that was like, that's a go-to saying for me. Like, people suck. You know, like you expect people to do something,
and sometimes they still do.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, but there's just still a lot of really good people that care, and they go out of their way to do something that does not benefit them at all to fully benefit you and your family. And I'm grateful, you know, and I feel just so grateful to have that. And I think it helps me, you know, to know that I have that.
Yeah.
You know, like I have people that every week I call to do, like if I'm feeling better, I'm like, hey, let's go. It's not anything major, but whatever it is at the time. And usually one of them will be like, all right, I'll go. You know, and it's not convenient for them, you know, and it probably costs them a little money to go. And it's just, I'm glad to have people like that to support me.
Yeah. I'm sure they're glad to have you too.
Yeah. I just, I'm just ready. Like I'm ready to be able to, I feel like I can't really like sew into anybody. Not that that's like the most important thing in the world, but like I can't be who I am right now. You know, I'm having to be, people have to help me all the time, like all the time to do everything. And thank God they're willing to do it. And I'm grateful, but it's just not me, you know, something that I don't enjoy begging people all the time. I don't have to beg. That's the cool part. But like, it feels like that, you know, in my spirit, like, oh, I'm having to ask somebody to mow my grass. You know, I've never had anybody mow my grass, you know, or we had someone come fix our house. I'm not going to name names because I don't think they would want to, but people have come fix the house and it cost them money to do it. And we were going to pay, but we didn't. People fix our garage. Had people fix my pool. Everything has broken.
Yeah.
Since I've been sick and can't do it. It's not that I don't want to. It's that I shouldn't. It's a bad idea. Like our garage is broken like 2 or 3 times, like broken. We had our house leaking water. Yeah. Windows leaking water. We had.
And I feel like it always happens when you're like on the low end of things.
Yeah, and I look like death. You know what I mean? And they're having to come in the house, and I'm over here like, I'm so sorry. You know, I mean, my pool, one of the filters exploded, and just pouring water out. You know, a friend fixed it. I had your car broke down. My truck before I killed it broke down.
Yeah, it's been.
Thank God for those people. All those people who, you know, Tucker mowed my grass for like last summer, and he's probably about that, you know, and it's just, but I've had 100 people offer to mow my grass. You know, it's just.
I think I felt that when you said that, you said, I can't be who I am. Like you feel like you can't be who you are. Like you're like in there but I can't be that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm saying like when you said that, I was like, oh, could you imagine being stuck, you
Right.
know, and not, so.
That's why that's just where I'm at. And I'm ready to be past it. Like everybody's like, well, of course you want to beat cancer. And, of course, you don't want to die and those things. Of course. But like, it's more than that. Like I want to be who I need to be for my kids. I want to be who I need to be for you, for my friends. Like, I feel like it's ready to be past, I don't feel like this is going to kill me. I don't feel this is not, as God, what is it? Godless. I've seen my end, this ain't it. If you've ever seen that show, and I just don't think this is it. And I'm ready for God and, the doctors to help me and to be able to, I'm ready to feel good. I haven't felt good in a long time. And I'm just like, it is mentally.
Love you. We're touching hands for those who are not watching and listening.
It's just mentally exhausting right now. Like it's been, and then I feel obligated to, I feel like it's critical that I get mentally ready. I don't know that right this very second I'm 100% mentally ready for the next journey, and I'm working on that. And it's not like I'm not depressed or anything like that, but it is depressing. Like this is like I can't plan anything, I can't do anything, I can't. And so like I need to get where I'm like,
we're gonna get you there.
Yeah, no, I feel I'm close. So I'm just like I need to process what's going on and what's about to go on, and then like I think once Reese gets, I'm nervous for him, not because there's really a reason to be, but I'm just
I
like,
am too. Yeah.
I'm his dad, and
well, I'm his mom, so I just go straight to the. Do all moms do this? Because I'm like, everything's going to be okay. But in my head, I imagine like the worst case scenario.
I'm nervous because he is so brave, and Reese is one to, I think he said on the pot, he doesn't like to cry. And I'm not saying he needs to cry, but, he will take this very personally, and he will take this very seriously. Yeah. And I don't want him to put too much pressure on himself. Because I'm going to do my part to get healthy. I hate this is going to sound like a pat on my own back, but I do feel like I am mentally strong, I'm going to do what I need to do to give myself every opportunity to beat this. And I think I say that, I think everybody does. I've talked to people, and I don't think that everybody does. I think that it really is difficult to see that light sometimes and to take the sadness, process it, and to put it behind you a little bit, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking the sadness. It's taking me a little longer just because like it's gonna be bad, and I'm not excited about that part of it, but I'm not scared of that part of it either. I'm not scared of like feeling bad, or the symptoms. I just want it to. I'm really just want it to work, not because like, not really for myself, like, living and dying, but I do feel like I do have a family to raise, I do have like things to do, not just for myself, but I have something to offer, the world, I guess. So
I'm your world.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not, I'm
just joking, guys.
My birthday's what, Monday?
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah,
We've got some friends coming in this weekend. Yes. Your birthday's Monday.
Yes.
But we're going to celebrate just a day early. And you're going to have some close friends over. We're going to sing you happy birthday and just try to have some fun. Hopefully the weather holds off. It's not storming. We've had such a rainy May.
It has been
It's supposed to be April showers, not May showers.
I'm ready to be. Yeah, it has been a rainy May.
Yes.
Hopefully the weather's good, but I'm excited to see people and just kind of like try to make it not cancer weekend. And like I said, it's hard to get away from it, but.
Okay, so I shouldn't order the decorations I was going to.
You gonna order cancer decorations? Is that what it is?
Well, I thought about getting, how people do The Jello shots.
Uh-huh.
Well, I wasn't going to do Jello shots in yours. I thought about doing liquid IV or something.
Yeah, that'd be good. No. I want to like, I think it's funny. I think you have to laugh. I think you have to laugh. If you don't laugh.
Well, because I feel like sometimes if we don't make people laugh,
very uncomfortable.
They're going to feel bad for you.
The whole time. They're like, look at him. Look at that little dying man. Look at him. But you can see it in their eyes. Like, or when they hug you is when you really know. They're like, everything was good. You didn't really notice anything, but they hug you. And then you're like, oh, this is when I would normally stop hugging. And then they just kind of squeeze a little bit longer and tell you how much they love you for a little bit longer. And you're like, oh, crap, But which is, thank God, you have that. But it is, you can tell it.
I just shove it way down deep, pack it in. And I'm going to process it later.
Oof.
Rather that it's, I don't know if that's right or wrong.
I don't know if it's wrong because if you process it all right now, like if you're as sad as you probably want to be, it would be hard to do what you need to do.
Right.
The job.
Right. Because I do have people who are like, oh, you should cry. You should do. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I would cry all the time.
Right.
And sometimes if you let it out, it doesn't stop for me personally. And it literally exhausts my body. Like for me, crying isn't just like a physical thing. It's a mental thing and it exhausts me. And so I'll have just like little bursts every now and then. Like I'll be washing my hair. It's where nobody knows. Remember I said last time it's in the sauna when I'm sweating. I'm in the shower and I'm just like, okay. And we're done. Okay, we're fine. Yeah. And that's it. And then so I think I may be going a little bit insane, but I think it's for the good. I think it's helping me because I've started laughing a little bit. Like I'll cry and then I'll be like, this is a joke. And then I just get up and move on with my day.
You ever had a bad dream? Obviously you have. But I've had bad dream when it felt really pretty real. Like all the things in there were real, could happen. People were real. And I've woke up and I've been like, did that happen? And then when I process and I go, oh, none of that happened.
Yeah. There's no,
I haven't gotten that yet. Yeah. I haven't woke up. I legitimately and I'm like, how great would this be to be like,
I've been watching Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called?
Black
Some
Mirror.
episodes in that, and I watched an episode today.
Mirror?
Is that, what did I say? Mirror?
I think you said mirror.
Mirror.
I think maybe I'm wrong.
I am who I am, okay? But yeah, and they were in a simulation and they realized it and woke up and I was like, oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. I'm waiting. Please wake me up.
But we don't know what tomorrow brings. So.
I haven't woken up yet.
Also I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people who are I've read people say, I'm so glad I get cancer or this or that. I'm like, no. I don't want a cancer tattoo. I don't want cancer. I want to forget this ever happened. Bad things happen and they can be, you can get good.
You can grow.
Right. But yeah, we're definitely not those type of people.
I'm not saying I'm going to ignore that it ever happened. I guess I shouldn't say that, but
no.
Anybody who's dealt with a chronic, seriously, I think they could attest to be I'm proud. I'll be proud to say I beat it, but I want to find as much normalcy as I can outside of this, at some point.
Right. So yeah, you got your birthday. How old will you be?
36, baby, getting old.
36.
I feel like that's I'm starting to border on the old side.
No.
36? I mean, my cancer statistics have just dropped drastically.
No, according to Google, but
Oh, that's funny.
And then you're going to play some golf this week, I'm sure. And then school's letting out soon, so our boys are going to be home.
Thank God.
And I'm totally one of those parents that are like, yay, school's out, yay.
I'm ready. I'm tired of it.
But also I'm excited to spend some time with them before we have to scoot on out and pack up and go to Nashville. But yeah, we have some fun stuff coming up. So I think next week's podcast will have maybe some funny stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
I'm off the chemo. I haven't been on it for a minute. So I'm starting to feel a little better. Like I feel like I'm still a little tired, but like, I'm starting to get a little pep in my step.
So far, all your results came in good because they did another bone marrow biopsy and blood work and stuff. So far, everything come back good. And then you got some interesting tests last night where they were like broke down different medications. I guess they like tested your blood.
Legit, man. They
like test. Maybe they do this for stem cell transplants or whatever, but they tested his blood or genetics against like different medications. It was pretty cool. It broke it down, what he metabolized, fast, slow, moderate, whatever. Yeah. Pretty cool.
It is neat.
But yeah, that's
where we're at right now.
That's it.
I told the nurse that I was like, I'm excited to get going. And then she's like, she literally said,
you said that, yeah.
Huh? Okay. And I was like, well, like I'm just ready. Yeah. I'm ready. And she's
you're turning 36.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you want to get past stem cell transplant.
Right.
Typically if we weren't dealing with this, it'd be like, well, what do you want for the next year of life to look like? But that's a big question for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want it to be not this.
Yeah.
But I do think that like I have some ideas in mind for the next phase of my life, but I'm not going to share those today. Like, I have some ideas and I want to do things. I just want to do some things, and I think it's not like, bucket list. I just think it's like just perspective change and I'm ready to move on forward with those things. And right now I'm focused. I'm getting focused and physically I'm trying to be strong because I'm going to be weak, type of thing. So pray for me, please.
And don't get any more wrecks.
No,
I don't need any more disasters.
Nothing. I got to hunker down. I'll basically be, what is it, starting the 28th? I think I pretty much had to stay home all the time. She said, I think so. No going out anymore into the store or anything. So that's a bummer, but we'll work it out. I'm excited. I'm excited about that there's light and hope. And the more I do read about it, the more I realize that I'm blessed to be able to just do it in general.
Yep. It's going to be a journey.
Yeah.
Do you want to, should we hop into do you want to do Harry Potter?
Let's do Harry Potter. Yeah, let's do that and wrap it up.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, I got to get it right up in the camera.
I really appreciate all the feedback while she's getting that. Like, I appreciate everybody's feedback and for following along. I realize like I'm able to see the analytics and people do watch. So it's really cool. So, yeah.
No, 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 no,
Let me get mine.
no, no, no,
Is this one?
no. It's not. You can do it too. No.
Jesus.
Who was that? Elijah?
No,
that was you?
I have one from Elijah. Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. What are the names of Ron Weasley's twin brothers?
Fred and George. Is that the first one I've ever gotten?
Good job. That was impressive.
I think you'll get this one. Who was Hermione's date at the Yule Ball?
Victor Crumb.
Very good. Wow. Good. Should we do another?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna.
We didn't get one right last week.
Yeah. Well, I'm not as well versed in Harry Potter.
Well, you don't read your book anymore.
I said I will when I'm locked away in Nashville. That's what I'll do.
Oh man.
Go ahead. You're like, oh man, she's not going to know this.
You might get this. What concoction does Hermione give Harry and Ron to make them appear as Crabbe? Is that you said it, Crabbe? Crabbe and Goyle in Harry. Is it Crabbe or Crabbe?
I don't know.
Crabbe and Goyle in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, Polyjuice potion. Is that right? No? Oh, it is? Oh, okay. How many players are there on a Quidditch team?
Oh, hold on. I can get this.
I feel like you've told me
2,
before.
4, 6 on each team. Hey, hold on, wait. Can I try again?
Mm-hmm.
2 beaters. There's a seeker.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's like 2 people who like try to score. I don't know what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
So 5?
7.
So maybe there's 3 of something.
I don't know. I mean, You could have told me 5 or 6 and I'd have believed you.
I was guessing.
But I feel like you've told me that one before.
I don't know. 7. I didn't know that. I'd have to really. Oh, the goalie.
Oh.
Right? 1, 2,
Mm-hmm.
3, goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Still missing something. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I suck. Good job. You win today. So proud of you.
Yay.
Good job, babe.
My first time.
Yeah. I love it. Well, we got a new wand holder, so it's really inspiring. Go Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah. Should we show the people?
Sure.
Okay.
You want to grab it before we?
Mhm.
Here, I'll play the outro
camera
music while
again.
you show it to them. Thank you all for joining us. Check out this cool wand holder our friends made us while we let y'all go. We love y'all. Thank you. Elder wand.